Every day, hundreds of thousands of trucks wind their way up and down city streets and bustling highways, crisscrossing Canada and the United States. Behind the wheel of each of these trucks is a professional driver, whose working day started before the turn of the ignition key. All commercial vehicles must be inspected every day that they are used, and when you are the driver, the responsibility falls upon you. You are the last line of defense that ensures that the vehicle you are operating is safe. This video will show you what is involved when doing a pre-trip inspection on a truck and a trailer. It will also give you some basic pointers when coupling and uncoupling. You are bound to see some differences in the way that this inspection is done and what you have been shown by your instructor at school. This video should be viewed as a supplement to your training on pre-trip inspections, not a replacement for it. So, without further ado, let's have a look at the SGT Pre-Trip Inspection. As you walk up to the truck, look for obvious damage. Look at the body from top to bottom and make note of anything that stands out. Take a look at the windshield. Are there any cracks or stone chips? Have a look at the hood and grille. Do you have a valid license plate in place? Here we have a Quebec plate. Quebec license plates do not expire, so the sticker you see on the bottom right-hand corner has nothing to do with the expiration date. All that the 6 means is how many axles, in combination with a trailer, you can have while traveling in Quebec. If it was a 5, this truck would not be able to take a 3-axle trailer into Quebec. Trucks with Ontario plates do not have this limitation. You just need to make sure that the plate is valid. Once you confirm that the plate is valid and securely attached, have a look under the truck. Make sure there are no puddles on the ground beneath that may have come from the truck itself. Next, you will need to look under the hood. But before you do so, get your gloves, hammer, and flashlight. While on the road, our drivers keep their hammer and gloves next to the driver's seat. The flashlight is stored safely in the door pocket. This way there is no chance of it rolling underfoot. Climb up into the cabin using the 3-point method. Turn on your headlights, marker lights, and 4-way flashers. The way to open the hood will depend on the truck model. On this Peterbilt, there is a handle next to the driver's seat that releases the hood. You will want to begin the inspection on the passenger side. As you return to the front of the truck, check that the marker lights are on. Grip the handhold with one or both hands and place one foot in the foothold. Use your body's mass to help you pull the hood open. With the hood open, return to the driver's side and check that the low beam headlamp and the indicator light is working and that the lens is not cracked. Check that the mirror is securely mounted with no broken glass. Move to the passenger side and check the low beam headlamp, indicator light, and mirror are all in good and working condition. Depending on the make and model of your truck, the exact location of items under the hood may vary. Start your inspection at the top and work your way down. Check the air intake. Confirm that you have sufficient windshield washer fluid. Have a look at the turbocharger. Look for oil or exhaust leaks on it. Go over the hoses. Make sure they are not rubbing against each other or another part of the engine. The clamps should be tight and secure. Check the side of the engine for any obvious oil or coolant leaks. Have a look at the frame. Look for any cracks or unmanufactured holes or missing bolts. The shock absorber needs to be secure and not leaking. Check that the leaf springs are not broken and properly aligned, and that the U-bolts are secure. Remember, you are not expected to be a mechanic, but you are still responsible for the safe operation of your truck. Check the service brake air hoses for cuts and bulges. Make sure that the hoses are not rubbing. Check that the brake chamber is mounted securely. Using your hammer, you can check the free stroke of the brake chamber. Check the condition of the slack adjuster. Make sure that all the components are in place. This will give you a general indication of brake adjustment, but it's not as reliable as measuring the applied stroke. Check the tire sidewall for cuts and bulges. Look at the rim for cracks. Look for rust spots around the bolts. Tap the lug nuts. The sound of a loose lug nut is quite different from one that is tight. Check the hub oil. There should be no signs of leaks from outside or inside the seal. Check that the tire has enough air pressure. Make sure the tire has enough tread depth and that there are no nails or flat spots. When inspecting the coolant level, you will want to remove the cap and look inside. Do this when the engine is cold, as the contents within the reservoir are under pressure. You can also check the sight glass on the side of the reservoir for an indication of coolant level. Check the reservoir for leaks. Go over the hoses on the driver's side and again look for holes in any places that they might be rubbing. Make sure the clamps are secure. Check the oil. Look for signs of moisture or metal shavings. You should have somewhere between the add and full line on the dipstick. Check that you have sufficient power steering fluid. Inspect the steering column and steering linkage. Look for signs of wear or looseness. Check that all leaf springs are present and properly aligned. Make sure that the U-bolts are secure. Check on the condition of the service brake air hoses. Look for cuts and bulges. Make sure that they are not rubbing. Make sure that the brake chamber is mounted securely and that the slack adjuster is in good condition. Check the free stroke of the brake chamber. Make sure the tire has sufficient tread depth, it is properly inflated, and there are no cuts, bulges, or flat spots. Check the hub for leaks. As you move down the driver's side, check the mirror is securely mounted and has no broken glass. Make sure that there is no damage to the door and that it opens freely. Make sure that you have a valid annual inspection sticker. Check your fuel level. Remove the cap and look inside. Remember, a fuel gauge is just that, a gauge. It might not be giving you an accurate reading. Make sure that the steps are mounted securely. Check that the fuel tank is secure and not leaking. Examine the side of the truck body for damage. Make sure the turn signal is working and that the lens is not cracked. Make sure that the air dryer is secure. The battery box should be securely mounted and the cover latched. The steps to the catwalk must be secure. Check the airlines and electrical cord for kinks, cracks, and cuts. Check the cab suspension for proper inflation. There should be no cuts or leaks in the airbags. Check the frame and cross members for bends or cracks. Look for any missing or loose bolts. Look at the air hoses and electrical wiring. Make sure they are all secure and not rubbing. Check the tires. Make sure that there is enough tread depth. Look for bulges on the sidewalls. Check for nails and flat spots. Check for obstructions between the tires. Make sure the fifth wheel has sufficient grease and that it is secure. Look for cracks. Check that the mounting bolts are tight. Make sure that there are no cracks in the rim and the lug nuts are tight. There should be no signs of leaks from the hub. As you get to the back of the truck, check the security and condition of the mud flap. Make sure that the four-ways are on and the lenses are not cracked. Check the license plate light. Make sure it's working. Remember, this truck has a Quebec license plate on the front. Quebec trucks do not require a rear plate. Make sure that the fifth wheel has sufficient grease and that the jaws are open. Check that the frame and cross members have no bends or cracks. Make sure that the airbags are inflated and that there are no cuts or leaks. Check the condition of the differential. Have a look at the brake chambers. Make sure that they are securely mounted. Check that the slack adjusters are in good condition. Check that the reflective DOT tape on the mud flaps is in place. Moving from back to front along the passenger side, you will need to check the tires. Make sure you have sufficient tread depth and that there are no flat spots. Look for cuts and bulges along the side walls. Check for obstructions between the tires. Check the wheel rim for any cracks. Make sure that the lug nuts are tight and that there are no leaks from the hub. Check the frame for damage. Make sure that there are no missing or loose bolts. Check the shock absorbers for security and for leaks. Make sure that the rubber bushings are intact. Depending on the time of year, you will need to make sure that your truck is equipped with chains. Check the truck's body panels for damage. Make sure you have a valid IFTA sticker. Check that the indicator light is working and that the lens is not cracked. Make sure that the steps are secure. Check the fuel level. Open up the cap and look inside. Check that the mirror is securely mounted and that there is no broken glass. Next, you need to do a hot check. Turn on the engine and release the truck's spring brakes. Using a tool called the brake buddy, apply the service brakes. Do not assume that since the four-ways work that your turn signals will work as well. Turn on the left turn signal and the high beams. With the engine now running, look for any smoke or sparks coming from the engine. Check that the belts and fan blades are running smoothly. Look under the engine for any leaks. Check that the left turn signal is on. Confirm that your high beam headlights are working. One easy way of confirming that the headlights and high beams are working is by checking where the beams appear on the ground. Admittedly, this is easier to see when it's darker. On the passenger side, once again look for any smoke or sparks coming from the engine and make sure that the belts and blades are running smoothly. Go to the back of the truck and check the brake lights and rear left turn signal is working. On your way back to the cabin, check that the side left turn signal is working. Turn on your right turn signal and go back to the rear of the truck. Check that the rear right turn signal is working. As you walk to the front, confirm that the side right turn signal is working as well. And finally, the front right turn signal. Close the hood and make sure that it is secure. Confirm that you have 3 working reflective triangles and a fully charged fire extinguisher. Having a first aid kit is a good idea, but it's not required by law. Upon entering the cab, remove the brake buddy and apply the spring brakes. Check that all the gauges are functioning. Make sure that all switches move freely to and from the on and off position. Check the play in the steering wheel. Check that the turn signals work. Check both the city and highway horn. Make sure that the seat is an adjustment for you. Make sure that you have a working seat belt. Check that the sun visors are secure and functional. Test that both the AC and heater work. Turn on the windshield wipers. On the driver's side, there should be no stone chips or cracks through the wiper's path. Make sure that the washer fluid comes through. Make sure that the steering wheel is in proper adjustment. Part of any in-cab pre-trip inspection needs to include finding and going through the truck's permit book. As you go through the book, check the expiry date of each document. It is possible to find 2 copies of the same document. If this happens, keep the one that is valid and remove the one that has expired. In fact, if you do not have an up-to-date permit book in the truck, you cannot take the truck out on the road. The permit book contains the truck's cab card and ownership, the company's CVOR, the company's insurance, and any other documents that allow the truck to operate and haul cargo through different provinces and states. Along with the permits, in the back of the permit book, you will find an accident report and a cargo claim form. The next step is to do the air systems check. Before starting your air system check, make sure that you are on a flat, level surface, you are away from traffic, and if necessary, your wheels are blocked. If the truck has been sitting for a while, odds are that the low air warning device will go off the moment you turn on the truck. If there is still enough air in the tanks, you will need to pump the brake pedal until the alarm goes off. The low air pressure warning must come on before air pressure drops to 55 psi. In this truck, the air pressure was already below 55 psi, and the alarm was sounding. The alarm stopped at 65 psi, the same air pressure it would become audible at if we were pumping air out of the tanks. Continue to watch the needle as it climbs. Measure the time it takes for it to travel from 85 to 100 psi. It should not take longer than 2 minutes. Let the truck continue to build air pressure until its cutout point. The governor must cut out the compressor before the pressure reaches 135 psi. Next, test the cut-in. Once you have established the cutout point, pump the air pressure down 25 psi. Check if the needles are rising. If not, pump the air pressure down to 90 psi. If not, try again at 85. If not, try again at 80 psi. The governor must cut the compressor in no lower than 80 psi. Next, test the air loss rate. Build up the air pressure to between 100 and 120 psi. Turn the engine off, apply and hold a full brake application. Allow the air pressure to stabilize and hold for 1 minute. Check for air loss. Remember, while uncoupled from a truck, you should not be able to hear any air loss from the blue line. With the yellow button pushed in, put the truck in first gear and roll forward. Press down on the brake pedal. If the truck stops, the truck service brakes work. Pull the yellow button out and put the truck in first gear again. If the truck does not roll forward, the truck spring brakes work. Before backing up to your assigned trailer, confirm that you have the trailer registration, and check that the trailer inspection sticker is valid. Make sure the path between you and the trailer is clear. Ensure that the kingpin and apron are in good condition. Back up slowly. One easy way of telling if your truck is lined up properly with the trailer is by watching the truck wheels. If you line up the tire walls with the trailer walls, you will have your truck lined up fairly close to center. As you get close to the trailer, stop and lower the truck suspension. Back up so that the fifth wheel is under the trailer, but not so far as to overshoot the kingpin. Watch the front tire of your drives. When it is halfway under the trailer, stop. Raise the truck suspension. Get out of the truck and make sure there is no gap between the fifth wheel and the trailer apron. If there is space between the two, you will need to lower the trailer until the fifth wheel is flush with the apron. Back up until you hear the release handle snap into its locking position. Shift into first gear and tuck twice against the trailer to ensure that the locking jaws are in place. Check that the rubber grommets in the glad hands are in good condition. Check that the plug at the end of the electrical cord is not corroded. Check that the air hoses are not twisted or dragging on the truck's frame. Connect the air hoses and electrical cord. The ABS light will turn on for a few seconds when the electrical cord is plugged into the trailer. If the light does not shut off, the trailer is out of service. Visually inspect the fifth wheel to make sure that the jaws are locked and the trailer is securely coupled to the tractor. Crank up the dollies and secure the crank handle. Return to the truck and push in the red button to supply air to the trailer. As you walk down the side, check the trailer for new and old damage. Clean the DOT tape. Look under the trailer and check that all cross members are undamaged and in place. There should be no holes in the trailer floor. Make sure that there are no missing rivets. Check the condition of the airlines. With the trailer air ride up, the airlines should be at least 18 inches above the ground. Check the bogie rail for any signs of damage. Make sure that the bogie pins are out and locked. Let's look at the inspection of your tractor and trailer tires in a little bit more detail using this demonstration model. Inspecting tires is critical to the safety of the vehicle. Tires require tread to maintain traction on the road. You want to make sure that the tires have sufficient tread depth. Tread depth is measured in 30/2 of an inch. When you find that a steer tire has just 4/32 of tread remaining, it will need to be replaced. Drive and trailer tires must be replaced when the tread depth reaches 2/32 of an inch. If a depth gauge is not available, you can use a coin. The best coins to use are the US penny and the US quarter. Use the penny for your drive and trailer tires. Place the penny into several grooves across the tire, Lincoln's head pointing down. If any part of Lincoln's head is covered up, you have more than 2/32 of an inch of tread remaining. The quarter can be used to check the tread depth on your steer tires. Place the quarter into several grooves across the tire, Washington's head pointing down. If any part of Washington's head is covered up, you have more than 4/32 of an inch of tread remaining. The reason you take more than one tread depth measurement is because tire treads can wear unevenly. A correct measurement will show the depth of two major tread grooves beside each other. Check the tire for uneven wear, cuts, sidewall cracking, sidewall bulges, and evidence of tread separation. You should not find any exposed cords in the tread or sidewall of the tire. Confirm that the tire does not come in contact with another tire or any other part of the vehicle other than the mud flap. A tire rubbing against another component can lead to that tire wearing out and failing at a much faster rate. A tire that is not fully inflated cannot carry the full load. It will overheat and eventually fail. Listen and feel for air leaks during your inspection. A flat tire will make the vehicle unstable. It cannot carry weight sufficiently and is likely to self-destruct. Use your hammer to check the tire's inflation. Use sufficient force when hitting the tires with your hammer. One of these tires is at 100 psi, the other is at 90 psi. Listen again. Can you tell? If you said the one on the right is not sufficiently inflated, you are correct. But pay attention while you are driving. If you hear a thumping sound from a tire, it could be an early warning to an upcoming tire failure. The mud flap needs to be secure. Check the brake adjustment of the trailer. With the trailer brakes released, the clevis pin on the slack adjuster should be aligned with the front post of the indicator, the one nearest the brake chamber. Apply the service brakes and visually inspect the brakes. The clevis pin should not move past the second post of the indicator. If it does, brake adjustment is necessary. As you move to the back of the trailer, check that the marker light works. Confirm that the trailer's license plate is securely attached and that the license plate light is working. Check that the ICC bar is securely attached and that all the DOT tape is present. Check the condition of not only the doors, but the hinges as well. If the trailer is not sealed, open the trailer door and look inside. You want to look inside the trailer to confirm that the load is secure, or if there is no load, that the trailer is clear of debris and can be taken to a customer. This is not a clean trailer and needs to be swept out. If the trailer is clean, you need to check it for damage. Climb into the trailer using the 3-point contact method. Walk the length of the trailer and make sure there is no damage. Look for leaks in the roof, walls, nose of the trailer, and floor. Never jump out of a trailer. Always use the 3-point method when getting in or out of the truck or trailer. Close the trailer doors and confirm that they are properly latched at the top and bottom. Walk down the passenger side of the trailer and repeat the same inspection on this side as you did on the driver's side. Check that the lights and reflectors are not broken or damaged. Make sure the four-ways and stoplights are working. Turn on your left turn signal and make sure that it is working. Turn on your right turn signal and confirm that it is working as well. Once you have completed your outside inspection, you will need to check if the spring and service brakes are functioning. Push the yellow button in, keep the red one out, and test the trailer spring brakes. Then push the red button in, keep the yellow one out, and test the tractor spring brakes. Push both the red and yellow buttons in, roll forward, and test the service brakes. With both buttons still in, roll forward and test the trailer service brake. Before uncoupling, check the surface onto which you will be lowering the dollies. If a concrete pad is available, make sure the landing gear pads will sit on the concrete when lowered. If the surface seems soft, you may need to place heavy wooden planks on the ground. This will help distribute the weight and prevent the trailer from sinking in. Disconnect the air hoses and electrical cord from the trailer. Secure them in the holders on the back of the tractor cab. Use a kingpin puller to pull on the release handle. Return to the cab and drive slowly forward about 1 foot. Stop and lower the truck suspension. Wait for the suspension to lower fully before driving out slowly. Once clear of the trailer, raise the suspension. Follow your company's reporting procedure if you find any defects or major defects. Before a commercial vehicle heads out on the road, it must go through an inspection. This is required by law. Drivers applying to SGT must be capable of performing a full industry pre-trip inspection, making sure that the equipment they are taking out on the road is safe. Being a safe and courteous driver is important. Operating safe equipment, doubly so.